by the power of Greyskull, we've got some He-Man to talk about today. Hey guys, and welcome back to Don't Mess with Jess. So today we're talking about Masters of the Universe. And honestly, coming from someone who grew up knowing about He-Man and of course Skeletor, and I have to say, I actually had a really good time with it. Now, was it perfect? No. But there was genuinely a lot that I truly enjoyed about it. Hello boys and girls, witches and vampires, goblins and ghouls, and welcome to the nightmare. First of all, let's talk about the visuals, because wow, this film looked incredible. The backdrops, the environments, the cities, the castles, the landscapes, everything felt incredibly mythical and magical. There were moments where the world was bright, colorful, and almost dreamlike. And then other scenes where things became dark, intimidating, and genuinely threatening. It really felt like an entirely different world. It was whether they would make Eternia feel too realistic or grounded. But thankfully, they leaned into the fantasy side of things. This world felt larger than life. It felt ancient. It felt legendary. And honestly, that's exactly what I wanted from a Masters of the Universe movie. Another thing I really enjoyed was the comedy. Now don't get me wrong, this isn't a straight up comedy movie, but there were little moments sprinkled throughout that kept me smiling. A lot of that comes down to Skeletor. And honestly, I think they made him a whole lot of fun. He was evil, he was intimidating when he needed to be. But at the same time, he was also kind of ridiculous. And that's exactly how I remember him from the animated show. He would say something threatening one minute and then something completely ridiculous the next. There were several lines that genuinely made me laugh. That being said, I actually think they could have pushed that side of him just a little bit further. I would have loved to see him be even more over the top and even more ridiculous. Because if you watch the old cartoon, Skeletor isn't just evil. He's hilariously dramatic and he's constantly throwing his tantrums. And he's also consistently failing. And honestly, I think there was room to make him even more cartoonishly stupid while keeping him just as threatening. Now let's talk about the action, because this is where the movie truly shines. The fight scenes were awesome, seriously. Every time He-Man stepped onto the battlefield, you felt his power. You felt his strength. You felt like this was a guy who could literally take on an army all by himself. And then we get that moment. You know the moment I'm talking about. The moment where he finally says, "By the power of Greyskull, I have the power." The entire theater basically knew it was coming. But even knowing it was coming didn't make it any less entertaining. It was one of those fan service moments that absolutely worked. The buildup was great. The payoff was great. And seeing him fully embracing the power of He-Man was absolutely satisfying. I don't care how cheesy it sounds, I loved it. Another thing I wasn't expecting to enjoy as much as I did was the emotional side of the story. There are several relationships throughout the movie that progress and develop naturally. The characters spend time together, they struggle together, and of course, they fight together. And because of that, the emotional moments actually land. The bonds between the characters felt believable. The friendships felt real. And there were a few touching scenes that genuinely surprised me. It wasn't something I was expecting to be one of my favorite parts of the movie, but it was. Now let's get into some of the things that didn't quite work for me. The biggest issue I had was the ending. Not because it was bad. That's actually kind of the problem. I was enjoying it so much that I didn't want it to end. After Skeletor is defeated, everything wraps up super quickly. I found myself wanting more. I found myself wanting to see He-Man settling into his true role. I wanted to see what happened next. I wanted to see more time and spend more time in Eternia. I wanted to see him ruling the world after everything he'd been through. The movie kind of says, okay, we won, bye-bye. And then it's over. Part of me feels like they could be setting up a sequel because I truly believe that there is definitely more of a story to be told. Another thing that disappointed me a bit was the relationship between He-Man and Teela. Now, maybe it's just me, but the chemistry was there. The entire movie, I kept waiting for something to happen between them. A moment, a kiss, some kind of payoff, anything at this point, and it just never really comes. I felt like the movie was teasing it the whole time and then just decided not to do anything with it. Maybe they're saving that for a sequel too. But by the end, I was sitting there thinking, really? That's it? Because it genuinely felt like there was something building between the two of them. And finally, there was one emotional moment that just didn't work for me. Without spoiling it too much, there's a reunion between He-Man and his mother. And honestly, her reaction felt strangely cold. I don't know if it was the writing, I don't know if it was the performance, but something about that scene felt off. This is supposed to be a huge emotional point in the film, a moment that should have had us tearing up. But instead, I found myself wondering why she felt so distant. It just didn't hit as hard as I think the filmmakers intended. Overall, though, I still had a great time with Masters of the Universe. The visuals are fantastic. The action scenes are epic. The world feels magical and exciting. The comedy works. The characters are fun. And He-Man absolutely feels like He-Man. Is it perfect? No, but it's exactly the kind of big fantasy adventure that I was hoping for. And honestly, if this is the start of a new Masters of the Universe franchise, I am completely on board for another movie. I want to see more Eternia. I want to see more He-Man. And yes, I want to see if He-Man and Teela finally get together. So for me, Masters of the Universe is definitely worth checking out. And that's just my opinion. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and give this my ranking. And I really enjoyed this. There were some things I didn't like, but overall, I had a great time and I can't wait to see if there's more. So I'm going to go ahead and give this 4.5 out of 5 bruises. Please let me know down below in the comments your opinions on this movie. Did you like it like I did? Were there moments you didn't like? What was your favorite part? I'm very curious to know. Thanks so much for watching today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, don't mess with Jess. And until next time, I'll see you in the shadows. Bye-bye.